In this video, we are talking about the neighborhoods that are in a 15-minute driving radius to Naval Base Kitsap Bremerton and PSNS. So stay tuned all the way to the end. What's up, everybody? It's Cassandra Lopez with the Living in Bremerton channel. If you're new to the channel, you're going to want to go ahead and subscribe. This channel is all about living in Bremerton. So whether you're relocating here for the first time or maybe you're already here, be sure to tap that little bell so you're notified every time I drop a new video, and you can reach out to me directly. This is my cell phone and my email address. Please feel free to reach out if there's anything I can do to support your relocation to Bremerton, Washington.
All right, this is the Northwest MLS back into the matrix. This is where I would plug in all of your criteria for your home purchase: beds, baths, price, yard size, if you need a fence, if you need cable, if you need fruit trees, like all that stuff can go in here, right? This is not what we're looking at today. We are looking at neighborhoods within a 15-minute drive: Naval Base Kitsap, Bremerton, also Puget Sound Naval Shipyard. So all of these bubbles represents a cluster of active properties, and we're going to get this narrowed down. So I'm going to go to this little car with the clock icon, and I'm going to enter the coordinates for the Naval Base Kitsap Bremerton main gate. Drive here 8:30 in the morning in 15 minutes on a Monday. I'm actually going to change this to 7 a.m. because I think that's a more accurate representation of when people are arriving. I'm going to click add. Voila. It draws me a radius, a boundary that is, according to map algorithms, a 15-minute drive to Bremerton. So this little dot here, the red dot, is the Charleston Gate. And here's all the piers for the ships and the dry docks and everything. And then each one of these little green pins is a property listing. So we have all these going on, right? We have, let's see, I'm gonna go back to 116. So we have 116 properties within a 15-minute drive of Bremerton. That's pretty good, you guys. My other video, which is a 15-minute drive to Bangor, some of these towns and areas are gonna overlap a little bit, but that's okay. So I know a lot of times that if you're not active duty, but you're civilian, civil service working on PSNS or something, occasionally you can get sent to Bangor for, a week or 2 weeks or whatever to fill empty billets there. And so, it's nice to know kind of where your home is located relative to all of those to kind of plan your commute times. So areas that are within a 15-minute drive to Bangor. So this is what I typically do is if I have a client who says they want to be within 15 minutes, and a minute ago I just said Bangor, I meant Bremerton. I want to be within 15 minutes of Bremerton Navy Base, and I'll actually push it out to 20 and update that. And we get a little bit more to choose from. Typically, if you're okay with 15, you're likely okay with 20. And also these are just based on an algorithm. So, this could change at different times of the day, especially, and this is key, if you're driving from anywhere on this side of the water, down Highway 3, around Sinclair Inlet, through Gorse, this turn, and then out to Port Orchard. The reason being is that at very predictable times of the day and the week, so Monday through Friday, about 3:30 to about 5:30, 6 o'clock, this is gridlocked, it's bottlenecked. So we have 2 lanes on Highway 3 South coming in, and then we have 2 lanes on Charleston Ave from here coming in. And it just gets really bottlenecked right here, and it backs up forever. Like we have, the highway will be backed up sometimes to Austin Drive, which is about right here where it says Irwin's Point, Kitsap Lake. So that time of day in the afternoon, Monday through Friday, is going to be like the only exception, one of the only exceptions. Of course, unless there's some sort of other traffic issue, like an accident or something. But this is the one that's super predictable that everybody knows about. They call it shipyard traffic. I personally arrange my tours around this traffic so I don't get caught in it. For example, if I have clients who want to see homes in Port Orchard or South Kitsap somewhere, I'll make sure that I'm out here no later than 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And that way I can just work my way back. Traffic going north that time of day is pretty open and pretty easy. So back to the neighborhoods. So this is considered South Kitsap. And so we have a good area of Port Orchard that is within that 15 to 20 minute commute. These neighborhoods here, some of them overlap, some of them are Bremerton addresses, some of them are Port Orchard addresses. So you just have to take it street by street almost. But this is also considered South Kitsap. It's in the South Kitsap School District. So even though these homes in here may have a Bremerton address, they will likely be in the South Kitsap School District. Gorse, there's not a whole lot of properties through here. This is more like an industrial part of town. So there's like a metalworking facility, and there's a lot of auto body places. There's a storage complex, there's gas stations, that sort of thing. So there's a few scattered properties throughout, but for the most part, it's going to be industrial, commercial content there. And then we have up here, Kitsap Lake area. So Kitsap Lake is kind of like a mid-century neighborhood. It's one of the more up and coming. There is one neighborhood up here called Dockside that has really expensive properties. You see this one, 975. So this is the only exception. Every home in the Dockside community is either water view or mountain view or both. I mean, they all face west. So you get a mountain view, you get a lake view, and several of them are also lakefront. We have all of West Bremerton and downtown Bremerton here. So this is going to be really high density. This is going to be one of the older parts of town. All of these properties around here on First Street, Gregory, State Street, Burwell, all of these were built turn of the century, late 1800s, early 1900s, meant to be residence for shipyard workers when they were building the shipyard at that time. So all of these are really high density, super small lots. A lot of really cool old architecture there. And then we have Washington Avenue. There's a bunch of condos on here. And then up to the Rocky Point neighborhoods. So this is Madrona, Rocky Point, Oyster Bay, Finney Bay, all of these areas here. And then if you cross over, now right across the bridges here, this is now East Bremerton. So you'll see these two bridges. This one is the 303. This is called the Warren Avenue Bridge. And this one down here is the Minette Bridge, which takes you, as the moniker would suggest, into Minette. Minette has a lot of great properties here. It's kind of up on a hill a bit. So you have some really fantastic views of Sinclair Inlet and Mount Rainier down this direction. And then a lot of properties even have western facing views to the Olympic Mountains to the west. And so a lot of favorable properties here. People really like Minette. It has a really low turnover rate. You know, people move in and they just never move out. They love it. Some other neighborhoods, we have East Bremerton in general, Tracyton, Illahee, Sheridan Park, all through there. Near the fairgrounds here, Meadowdale, and then up around into Silverdale. And you'll kind of notice the relative shape of the map radius here kind of follows the freeway. So this yellow freeway up this way is 303, goes all the way into Silverdale, and it connects with Highway 3 right here in Silverdale, which comes back down. So, you know, anywhere where there's freeway access, of course, you're going to get there quicker. So Highway 3 is the freeway. Highway 303 is more of like a main arterial through town. So tons of stoplights, tons of neighborhoods, that sort of thing. Almost out to Wildcat Lake. That's getting a little farther out there. But you know, I have the supreme authority to move these maps if I want. So if I wanted to include like this little bit of waterfront that just didn't quite make it I can just do that. And I can just do, that and move these around, because if you're okay with 15, 20 minutes, you're probably going to be okay with taking an extra minute or two, to drive out to the waterfront here. So I can move the maps around like that. You'll notice over here, like some of these other farther areas like Manchester, Watauga Beach, these areas, it takes a bit to get out here. It's quite a distance. So if you're coming from the Navy base here, where this little red pin is, you're driving all the way down through Rose, all the way around. And this is a lovely drive on Bay Street, and you go all the way up and around, but it's pretty long. It takes you maybe, I would say from Bremerton to out here to Watauga Beach is probably a 40-minute drive, even though it's a mile, as the crow flies. So basically, if you wanted to broaden the neighborhoods, you would say Port Orchard, a good section of Port Orchard, a good section of West Bremerton and downtown Bremerton. I would say East Bremerton, including Manette, Fairgrounds, Tracyton, Silverdale, Chico, and Kitsap Lake. These are all areas and locations that are within that 15 to 20-minute drive of Naval Base Kitsap, Bremerton. If you're within West Bremerton over here, kind of this radius right here, you are within walking distance. There are several ways to get on base. So this is just one. This is just the Charleston Ave gate. If I zoom in a little farther, we are going to see, let's see, where are we? 6th Street, Chester, Naval Avenue is going to be this one right here. So this is Naval Ave, and Naval Avenue terminates into the Naval Base Gate right here, Naval Ave Gate, sorry. So this is the Naval Ave Gate. This used to be the main gate, and then they changed it to the Charleston Gate. And then if I come down here a little bit farther, here's South Montgomery. There's another gate right here. So there's another gate there. So that's 2 gates. 1st Street is a one-way. This is a big hill. So if it's snowing outside and you have a sled, this is great sledding hill. If I go a little bit to the east, I'm looking for State Street, which is right here. So we have State Street. There is a walking gate right here. So you can't drive through, but you can walk through. And then if we go a little bit farther to right here, Park Avenue, see how it says Burwell Tunnel right here? There's actually a man gate right here that takes you underground underneath Burwell, and you pop back up in the shipyard. So there's several ways to get in. Oh, let's not forget this one over here. This is the IMF gate right here. So it's right here, and it's right off the ferry. So here's our ferry terminal right here, which is for the State Ferry, the Fast Ferry, and also the Foot Ferry from Port Orchard. So if I zoom out just a little bit, you see this dotted line coming down this way. This is just a little foot ferry that docks over here at the waterfront in Port Orchard. It's part of Kitsap Transit, so you can take the bus there, you can ride your bike there, you can drive there, walk there, get a ride, catch an Uber, however you want to get here. You hop on the foot ferry, takes you right over here. It's like a 5-minute boat ride, drops you off right here at the ferry terminal, and you're like a 3-minute walk to this gate right here. So if you work on this end of the shipyard, this would be a great gate for you to use. If you live in Port Orchard and work in the shipyard, this is a great way to get there where you don't have to drive around and you don't have to worry about parking. The shipyard itself is rather large. Walking from one end to the other is probably a good 20 minutes, and that's at a pretty healthy pace. So, it's just depending on where you work and how many steps you want to get in that day. You can ride your bike on base, so that's nice. So if you want to get around that way, that's definitely a way to commute. Vehicles are restricted after a certain point, so you can drive on base and park in the garage or whatever, but if you need to get into the shipyard area, most vehicles are going to be restricted. So just keep that in mind. But if you're just on base driving around, driving to the gym or to different workspaces or whatever, maybe you want to go to the commissary or the Navy Exchange, you can definitely drive around there. So those are the neighborhoods within 15 to 20 minutes of Bremerton. From here, I can punch in, whatever price you want, 500 or less, 3 beds, 2 baths. I want it to be at least 1,500 square feet. And I want my lot size to be a 1/4 acre, 1.25 acres. Well, now we have 0. So then we start taking away. How about 0.1 acres? Okay, we have 3. So, there's, 0.1 plus. So now we have 20. So 0.1, that's about a city lot. And so we have 20 to choose from. If you wanted a larger lot, say you wanted a 1/2 acre or more, well, now we have 1, just because, these neighborhoods and areas around here are going to be a little more dense, a little bit higher pedestrian traffic, very walkable, very bikeable, but smaller lots. So if you have any questions about Naval Base Kitsap Bremerton, the surrounding areas, drive times, that sort of thing, let me know. I can help you out. If you have a particular property in mind that you really, really love, but it falls just outside this radius, it's probably just a minute or 2 beyond that 15 to 20 minutes that I'm able to plug in. If you saw the driving increments, it's by 5-minute increments up to 20, and then it goes 30, 45, 60, 90. So, there's pretty big gaps in there. What I would do if I were you is, if you find a house that you absolutely checks all of your boxes, just Google Map it. Google Map it to Naval Base Kitsap, Bremerton, or Bangor or Keyport, or wherever you need to go, and see if it's within a radius that's comfortable for you. And if you are local, which I know a lot of you folks are who watch my channel aren't local, but if you are, or you have to make it out here, take a drive for a day. Drive it for yourself and see how it feels and see how it looks and see how comfortable you are with that commute. Also, fun fact, West Bremerton up to Rocky Point, this looks like a moose head with antlers, the ear and antlers. And now that you've seen it, you can't unsee it. So now every time you see this from an aerial view, you'll see the moose head.
If you like that video, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. Tap that little bell so you're notified every time I drop a new video. Be sure to share this with a friend who you think might benefit. Please feel free to reach out if there's anything I can do to support you. Bye for now.